Hello, my beautiful rebels and questioners authority. This is your weekly reading for the week starting July 5th. And the energy theme for this week is beyond the illusion of control. And so I drew three cards. All of them are from the Osho Zen Tarot deck. So that's what it's from. And the first card drawn was control. Let's see if I can get it to zoom in on that. Notice the figure in this rigid triangular armored shape for control. And then the next card, which added that beyond illusion, right? Beyond the illusion of control, beyond illusion is this card. So this butterfly in front of this meditative figure with a lotus coming out of its third eye, surrounded by lights and stars. And our final card is ordinariness. So if you can see this, it just looks like a farmer walking through a field or a pasture with trees in bloom, carrying a basket of whatever they've gathered. Just very ordinary, but this beautiful landscape. And so, again, the theme, the overarching title, if you will, is Beyond the Illusion of Control. This entire month is about recognizing that you are whole. So, July is you are whole. You are already whole. You are already a masterpiece. And that's part of what the Beyond the Illusion card really alludes to is this idea that we are broken, that we need to be fixed, we need to be healed, that we'll never be completely whole, that there's a hole, HOLE, left in us that prevents us from ever becoming whole, WHOLE. And it's just not actually true. I understand that there's so much in the world today that would lead us to believe the contrary, but that's actually where this butterfly in front of the figure meditating, you see the translucency of the butterfly, so you can see the figure behind it. Butterfly is almost like this gauze, this veil of lies over our face, over our eyes, keeping us from seeing the truth. And it's time to let go of that illusion. I know that the butterfly often, when it shows up, is talking about transformation and growth and that kind of thing. And it's just a different use of the butterfly in this particular instance in that card. But control, if you think about control, we all tend to think that we can control things, that we can control different aspects of our lives, and we always get pretty bent out of shape when when something happens that challenges that delusion that we hold that we have control over it, because we really have control over very little. We think we have control over the stability of our home, the functioning of our vehicles, the the availability of food and gasoline and clothing and all of these things. And yet technically speaking, we don't have control over those things. We certainly don't have control over other people as much as we oftentimes wish we did or think we do or try to exert control over. We only have control over those things as long as they allow us to have control over them. And when it comes to those external things like food, housing, uh, functioning vehicles, etc., working public transportation, etc., oftentimes, yes, we can do things to ensure that those things remain stable and available to us in our lives, like having a job and earning money so we can pay the rent or the mortgage and keep the house or the apartment or pay for the food, doing the upkeep and regular maintenance on our vehicles to ensure that they stay running properly. Yes, our actions to help maintain it, we can control those actions. But we can't necessarily control whether or not we get fired. We can do things that will increase our chances of staying employed or getting fired, certainly. But that job is often at the whim of another person, another entity, right? The stability of your home or your vehicle or the availability of fuel or food is often technically at the whim of the government, or when it comes to food, sometimes the weather and the harvest and what is going on, or the stability of the country that you live in, and the availability to move goods and products from one location to another. And we don't have the control that we think we do. And I want to present kind of another way to think of control, which might make it easier for you to notice where you think you have control. And then do you actually think of control as expectations? I expect my car to start in the morning when I get into it and I need to go to work. I expect the roof to hold firm on my house to keep out the rain and the wind and the sun, etc. I expect certain things that technically I might think I have control over, but realistically I don't. I can do what I can to help maintain it and etc. But that's very different than actual control. And so it's time to break free from that illusion of control, break free from the illusion of expectations. Start to drop your expectations and instead start to invite in and enjoy more gratitude for those things that keep showing in your life that are stable or that happen that we take for granted because we think we have control over them. We have this expectation, this entitlement, if you will, that I have a place to live and I have enough money to pay the mortgage each month, and I have a newer functioning car that I maintain so that it starts every day. Because that's kind of where the ordinariness comes in. When we can shift from viewing like these control, this expectation, this entitlement, and realize that that's kind of really just all an illusion. It's not up to us whether those things function the way we expect them to or do the things we expect them to, even people, you know. But instead, if we drop those expectations and we allow ourselves to just be in the moment more and more, And it's a practice. You're not going to immediately shift. Like, I'm not saying that this needs to happen right now, this week. Like, this is just the energies available to help show you where you're holding on to the illusion of expectations, control, entitlement in your life so that you can start to shift and see beyond that. Because when you, and this showed up last week in rebirthing consciousness, is when you see the lie, you cease the lie. When you see the lie, you can stop living the lie. You can stop buying into it. You can stop buying into the illusion. When you see the illusion, you're no longer deluded. And the ordinariness, this card reminds us that as we move beyond the illusion, it doesn't take the color away from our life. It doesn't take the magic and the beauty away from our life. It adds to it. Because when we stop expecting things and instead we just come into this deep, heartfelt, entire body into it, gratitude for waking up, for having a bed to sleep in, for having food in your kitchen in the morning, or the availability to get food, to have clothing to put on, and choices, to be able to get into a vehicle that works or to make it work. Like having this gratitude and this, oh my goodness, yay, my car started this morning. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's supposed to start. But again, that's an expectation. And if we put more gratitude into our life, we start to invite that mystical, the magic, the wonder, the awe, the joy back into our experience, what we're really supposed to have. We are whole. And when we are whole, when we realize that, when we realize our power and our abundance, that doesn't remove our gratitude, our joy, our happiness. Instead, it invites so much more in because, um, how do I explain this? It's really a feeling that defies language. So maybe just sit with me for a moment. Maybe you want to place your hand on your heart. I always love doing that to kind of help bring my attention to the heart space, to that entry point for your soul and for gratitude to enter and expand into. And just think of one thing, one stupid little ordinary thing in your life that you can be grateful for, even if it's something that you expect to be there or expect to work or expect to love you if it's a person, for example. Just take a moment. Maybe feel gratitude for the sun, or maybe it's cloudy out today and maybe you just need to invite some gratitude in for the shade. But just start to feel that shift into gratitude, this intense gratefulness for being alive, for being here right now. Invite it in into your heart and then let it spread naturally on its own. as you just keep inviting more and more in. I found when I really focus on it, when I really let it come in and flow through me, it can start to feel really intense, which sometimes can be a little scary for our minds or even our bodies. We aren't necessarily used to allowing ourselves to feel the intensity of emotions. We tend to try and stay in this narrow range because it's safe. And I want you to start to allow yourself to experience the wholeness of gratitude, the wholeness of that emotion, that feeling, that sensation filling up your body. Let it get intense. And of course, as always, if it gets way too intense, then, if your eyes are closed, you can just open them and look around your room, moving your head, bringing yourself back into the here and now, reminding your body that it's safe, even as you feel the intensity of this. But we're moving beyond the illusion of control. And this gratitude is here for the ordinariness, the mundane. Because even in that ordinariness, that mundane life, there is so much beauty. There is so much magic. There is so much divinity. And all of that is here for you to experience. But you have to move beyond controlling what you feel within that narrow band, beyond controlling everything you can in your life and holding these expectations. Because the person who can let go of expectations and just be present can enjoy life and have gratitude and be present and feel the emotions without attaching to any of it, without getting bent out of shape when the world turns to chaos around them. They just roll with it. I mean, think of someone, and maybe it's you, but think of someone, and in this case, I really like you to think of someone else, like where you've been in a situation where you're kind of freaking out, things are going sideways, or they aren't working the way you want, and it's just like everything's going to shit. And you're with that other person, and they're like, shit happens. It's fine. Let's roll with it. We'll just pivot and do this. Or, you know, so yeah, our plans change and we end up having to take care of this now instead of going to do the fun thing. Yeah, that's okay. It'll be fine. And they are just unfazed. And you look at them and you want to throttle them, right? Because how can you be so cool and calm in this when this is just destroying our entire day? Well, because they've let go of that expectation that everything always is supposed to work out the way you want it to. They let go of the expectation that always your plans are going to follow through and they aren't going to change. Allowing yourself to let go and to just literally enjoy the ride, roll with the flow of the universe, allows you to invite in more of your wholeness, to uncover more of it, to return more to your power. Power is not synonymous with control. You have to let go of control to truly be powerful and feel whole and really experience life to the fullest. When you stay within that illusion of control, you limit your experience significantly. So my challenge for you this week is every day identify something that you're holding the idea that you have control over, or this expectation that things are going to work out. Recognize it, and to help yourself start to release that. And it may be the same thing every day, because maybe it's something kind of big that, like, it's this pattern that, like, you have to do it and have to hold on to that control or that expectation. And maybe it's something different every day. Whatever it is, every day, identify something. If you can, identify it before something goes wrong and you're bent out of shape, so that when that thing happens, if it happens, you're already primed for letting go and being in the moment. And when you identify that thing, the second part of that challenge, don't just identify it and work on letting it go, but invite in gratitude for whatever it is that always does what it's supposed to do, or shows up or works the way you think it should. Invite in gratitude when it doesn't. See what difference that makes in how you look at the world, how you interact with the world, how you experience life that day, when you take a moment to identify and release where you're holding an expectation or that illusion of control or that entitlement. And instead, you're inviting in gratitude. When you invite in gratitude, you invite in your own wholeness, because you are already a masterpiece. You don't need to become anything else. You just need to return to your wholeness. You need to uncover it. All right. You can still use the words becoming and healing and everything, but remember that at the core of your very being, you are already whole. You are already healed. There's nothing to heal if you're already whole. You just have to take off those beliefs and uncover the wholeness from all of the layers of beliefs and patterns and expectations and control and shit that we've layered on top of ourselves. So I invite you to join me this week in moving beyond the illusion of control, moving into gratitude for the ordinary and the mundane. And if you would like, you can check out my podcast, At the Intersection of Mystical and Mundane. I've shifted in this season 2 that I just started into reading stories that I loved as a child. And let's see, do I have? Well, this is one book. The other book I'm actually reading out of right now, but this is one that'll come out uh, more late fall, winter time, I think. We'll start reading this a chapter at a time. But there's stories that are out of copyright, but I love them because sometimes you just need, like right now, I'm reading Myths Every Child Should Know. And so the first story is The Chimera. And sometimes I think we just need these stories, these myths to get out of our own heads and remember what it was like to be a child, in awe of these stories or in awe of just the everyday life. You're older, you're more experienced, you're mature. You don't have to lose that childlike innocence. You don't have to become childish. But remember that childlike innocence and couple that with that maturity, that experience to really bring a fuller, more joyous, gracious experience into your life. You can do it. Feel it all. Stop limiting yourself to this narrow band. Let it get intense. Let yourself lose emotional control. Let the emotions move through you in all of their intensity and their expression, whether they're enjoyable or not. Maybe you're in a time of grieving. Let yourself grieve. Let yourself sob and get all snotty and stuffed up and red-faced and hard to breathe. Let yourself be racked with that grief. Because when you actually let yourself experience it, one, you demonstrate to your body and your mind that it's safe to feel. It's safe to experience it because while it might be uncomfortable, it doesn't kill you. It doesn't actually hurt you. And two, if you've never let the full intensity of emotion run its course through you, you have no idea what's waiting for you on the other side. And oh, baby, what's waiting for you on the other side is freedom, is peace. It's that wholeness, that that feeling of like hollow voidness without being empty. Like somehow you are full, but there's so much space and you feel so much more connected. You may not even know what you're feeling connected to, but you can't just limit yourself to this small little range because you can't let go of control. You gotta let go of control to be able to experience the fullness of life. So join me in that this week and beyond. Check out my podcast. It's also on YouTube here. If you like, it's just the audio. So no video with it. So you can put it on and listen to it while you're doing whatever you want. And I truly hope that you are able to let go of even just one expectation, one micrometer of control this week, and let yourself experience even just a little bit more gratitude than you've ever let yourself experience before. I love you so much. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. I put out daily readings most days. It may not be every single day, but most days you'll get little energy updates and we'll tie them back into the energy of the week and the month as we go along. And of course, the podcast that'll start releasing weekly, hopefully. Um, and I love you so much. Chat with you again.